Today I'm going to be continuing my medieval quest and the tale of my world of Pelargir. We're going to be building taverns, forges and another battle, along with meeting new characters and exploring new locations. And there's a lot to get through, so let's just get started. I'm also giving away 3 sealed Dragonborn paladins. I'll be announcing the winner on the 30th of October, and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and comment down on this video. So in the last 2 episodes, we saw the young king grow into a strong leader and marry Lady Arya of Dragonreach. But this happy peace was short-lived because soon after, the King's Company was forced to ride and defend their borderlands. They encountered Pip the Halfling Druid while passing through Greenwood the Fair. However, at Osgrey's watch, they found the Lion Knights all slain and lying dead, and a dire note from the Forest Rangers revealed that dark forces had come out of the eastern lands, and before the men could even plan their next move, enemies attacked. The men had made short work of the enemy soldiers, but the Dark Wizard was not so easily defeated and had struck down young Damien Blacksteel with a ball of fire. We join our company here as they kneel beside young Damien. Pip the Halfling was chanting strange incantations with his staff raised as the men remained in a tense silence. Damien's body was badly burned, but his chest rose and fell faintly. Pip dropped to his knees and placed his hands upon Damien's chest, before suddenly vines began to appear across Damien's body, covering his skin as the flowering petals reached their full size. The men were in shock, but before they could react, the flowers all disappeared, revealing a body unburnt by flame. Damien took a rasping breath and sat up sharply, sending Pip reeling backwards into Rogar of the Heavy Hand. Dodger the Squire gasped, and Thorlas Ironheart chuckled grimly. But it was Damien's uncle, Osmond of Oldcastle, who roared, grasped his nephew by the shoulders, and half shouted, "You're 1 part brave and 3 parts fool, son!" Damien offered a rare smile, showing his youth, before he clasped his uncle's shoulder back and let out a, "Is this paradise, uncle? Cool, it stinks!" The king couldn't help but laugh as he turned to Pip, looking upon the halfling with a newfound respect and awe. "I know not how you performed such an act, Pip, though I am grateful you are with us, and we are all in your debt." Pip hummed softly, and the bird flew down to his arm, chirping in harmony. "'Twas my mother who taught me the old ways, that nature heals and seals the evil of man. Thank me not, but thank the trees, the roots and leaves, and the muddy earth from which all grows, for dark will be the days when nature goes." There was no more time for celebration. The note the men had found upon the slain body of Dondarian Osgrey told them of the next step upon this quest. Dark armies were rising in the east, and the Forest Rangers awaited the king in Castamere. They rode swiftly, crossing the Numenath River before reaching the outskirts of Castamere. The Tavern district lay at the edge of the city on the banks of a small lake, and William the Quick had been born here, so knew the streets well. He led the company along an old stone path running alongside some woodland. "This has got to be the place, my lord, the old Plainside Inn. I think we should find the Rangers there." As the men approached the tavern, Dodger noticed a dark shadow hovering in the trees. His face was hooded and his clothing dark. Dodger went to cry out, but as the sound left his mouth, the figure snarled and jumped from his cover, landing next to the king with a dagger drawn. It had grey skin and cruel eyes that spoke only of death and despair. As it stabbed the blade forwards into the king, his body faltered sharply, a piercing thud coming from its back. The king looked up sharply to the left, seeing a tall, graceful lady standing atop the tavern roof, a bow already notched with another arrow, as 3 men climbed next to her, their own bows all in hand. 4 more arrows pierced the creature before anyone could move, and it fell clutching at its chest, uttering, "Death will find you, king. Your lands will burn." The creature looked ready to die, but Osmond suddenly swung his longsword and beheaded it. The body stood there for a moment, the head bouncing to the side, before Osmond grunted and kicked the body to the floor. "I'd had just about enough of his talk. Assassins shouldn't be seen or heard, and he was darn well both." He ruffled Dodger's hair and said, "Good work, lad. Eyes of a hawk you have. Give our William a run for his money, wouldn't you now?" Dodger puffed out his chest and smiled proudly, before marching over to the king and mimicking his stance. The king was shocked, but equally eager to thank the mysterious lady and her bowman. He turned to find them no longer atop the roofs, but standing at the door of the Plainside Inn. The king stepped forward and spoke. "Though it suffices to say thank you, I feel I'm already far more in your debt, lady. A king's blood may stain this road, were it not for the swift endeavour of your arrows and the sure nature of your aim. Are you the lady that we seek, Morwen, daughter of Angrad, captain of the Eastern Rangers?" She bowed softly, and now composed said, "I am your captain, sire, though mere huntress in spirit. Would you join us inside? I will share with you all that I know. The company filed into the tavern, leaving a ranger on watch at the doorway and finding the rest of the forest men perched inside looking grimly at them. Lady Morwen pointed down at a map laid across the table where an X was marked at the bronzewood. She spoke then. The fell men came in the night, killing our children and burning our forest. This is where my father fell, and in his dying wishes, he ordered me to flee and lead what remains of my people here. To give you this message, sire. She placed a note over the map, reading, "A dark sorcerer has risen out of the shadows of the east. The scars of old wounds lie open and festering, and Pelargir's peril cannot be underestimated. Magroth rises again." One of the rangers, a hardy-looking man named Huor, added gravely, "I carried this message from the dying hands of our late Captain Angrad, as he lay poisoned at the roots of our god's tree. Our messages to Osgrey's watch went unanswered." The king processed this information, reeling from the dire news. Sir Osmond often spoke of how the eastern lands had been laid barren and burnt in the dragon wars of the First Age. Many centuries before, Magroth the Fallen had been a dark elf and dragon rider, whose thirst for power had led him to turn against the sacred order of Dragonreach. Many dragons died then, and it was said that the skies rained with blood, but Magroth had long been dead. Osmond of Oldcastle spoke next. "The way I see it, we have only one option, and that is to make for Oldcastle, where I have 100 men or more garrisoned. From there we can send word to the free cities of Pelargir and raise what other loyal forces we can." It was good advice from the old Master-at-Arms, and it was their only option. Oldcastle lay closest on the road, but the king knew 100 men would do little if Magroth or his followers had somehow returned. The king needed his wife. He needed Lady Arya and the last warriors of Dragonreach. Fire must be met with fire. The king turned to Morwen and asked quickly, "Will you ride with us, lady, and your forest men also?" But before she could reply, the tavern door burst open and the ranger on watch fell inside, the stump of his hand pouring blood onto the floor. His eyes met Lady Morwen's with a frantic urgency as he coughed up blood and spluttered, "Lady, forgive me," before keeling to the floor dead. Everyone jumped to their feet with their hands on their weapons as the sound of many men was heard outside. The king's men formed a tight line in the centre of the room, steeling themselves for whatever was about to come through that door. Dodger practically fell over trying to get behind Forlass, who simply hefted the boy over his shoulder and dumped him onto a stool behind him. "There you are, lad. Have a seat." The jest was momentary, for a dark shadow stepped into the doorway, a long staff in one hand. It was the sorcerer from Osgrey's watch. Behind him stood 20 men or more, all bearing cruel-looking blades and the red dragon marks of Magroth. The sorcerer's eyes rested haughtily upon Pip the halfling before he spoke first. "Greetings from my master. He has been expecting you." But to find out what happens next, make sure to tune in for part 4 when we will journey back into the world of Pelargir. Expect dragons, side quests, Easter eggs, and new locations like Oldcastle and Dragonreach. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your favourite detail was, and I'll see you guys on the next video.